All right, guys, we are trying something new. We're going to put up our weekly picks against the spread on Facebook Live and, yes, on Instagram Live. Thank you guys for joining us here as we get it going with 8 games this week. We're going to be picking. Normally, we would only have these picks on the podcast, which, if you're not subscribed to the podcast, that is still where the majority of our content is. But I wanted to put these picks up on Facebook Live. I wanted to put these picks up on Instagram Live, and I will put them up on YouTube as well. So subscribe to us in all those different places. And let's start off with the Oklahoma-Nebraska game. All right? Oklahoma-Nebraska this weekend. OU is a 22-point favorite, and I am hammering the Sooners in this game. I don't care about the trends. I don't want to see the trends. I don't care who's played well. I don't care who has played poorly. All right, what matters to me is that this game was almost canceled by Nebraska. Remember, this game was almost canceled by Nebraska in the offseason because Scott Frost didn't want to get his butt kicked, right? So this game was canceled, and I think that, Lincoln Riley's sneaky like this. Lincoln Riley is sneaky from the standpoint of he wants to whip you good sometimes. And when it came out before the season, like 3 weeks ago, that Scott Frost was the guy behind trying to get this game off the schedule for Nebraska, the Oklahoma game off the schedule for Nebraska, when it's the 50th anniversary of the game of the century, that was, I think that was the beginning of the end for Nebraska in this game. Nebraska's looked terrible this season. I know they've won their last 2 games, but they played nobody, all right? They played absolutely nobody. They lost to Illinois in the opener, and Illinois has lost a couple of games since then. So give me Oklahoma minus the 22 points. No questions asked in that one. Then we're going to go to West Virginia, Virginia Tech. It's going to be a great game. Old Big East rivalry. I'm pumped up for it. And the wise guys are on the Mountaineers. Full disclosure, the wise guys are on the West Virginia Mountaineers. But I'm taking Virginia Tech in this game. I am. I'm buying a half a point, and I'm taking Virginia Tech +3 on the road in Morgantown. I don't want to do it, but I just have zero faith in Jarrett Doege at quarterback that they can get enough going on offense to get this done. And the defense is good for West Virginia, but it's not what it was last year when it was one of the top 5 to 10 defense in America when you look at the stats. All right, so I'm not buying what is going on with the West Virginia Mountaineers right now. They beat LIU last week. That means nothing to me, and I'm just too concerned about the offense. You want to get Letty Brown going on the ground, but if you're Virginia Tech, you're basically saying we're stopping Letty Brown, we're packing the box, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make Jarrett Doege beat us through the air. And when Virginia Tech beat UNC a couple of weeks ago, they won the turnover battle in that game to pull off the upset. All right, they picked off Sam Howell 3 times in that game. And Sam Howell is a really solid NFL prospect at UNC. And you look a couple of weeks ago, what was it, 4 or 5 turnovers for West Virginia. So I'm taking Virginia Tech with the points, by a half a point, and that's what we'll do. On Instagram Live, Carlos says that I've been drinking tonight. I have not been drinking tonight. I'd like to be drinking tonight. I would, but I got to work tomorrow. All right, so I'm not drinking tonight. But those are my first 2 picks: Oklahoma -22 and Virginia Tech +3. Then we've got Baylor and Kansas. So I'm rolling with Baylor -18 at KU. This is going to be the smallest spread Kansas will face all year. I guarantee it. But you think about last week, and I think KU's actually making progress, right? KU's making progress, but here's the problem for KU. They're still really bad. And progress when you're as bad as KU has been doesn't tell me much. I've got questions about Baylor, all right? I've got questions about Baylor, but I still think that this team should go on the road. And by the way, Dave Aranda wants to get a convincing win over KU. The last thing Dave Aranda needs starting conference play in year 2 after going 2-7 last year is a nail biter against Kansas. All right? How am I disrespecting Baylor? I'm looking on Instagram Live. I'm not disrespecting Baylor. I'm saying they're going to cover the 18 points. I'm picking Baylor here, guys. I mean, roll with me for a little bit, would you please? All right, so I'm going Baylor minus the 18. KU's getting steadily, slowly better. There's a long ways to go. And, I just think that even though Baylor hasn't looked great at times, Texas State in the opener wasn't a bad team, all things considered. I think they're going to get better under Gary Bohannon at quarterback, and I like Baylor giving up the points. Next up, Iowa State UNLV. Oh, boy. Give me UNLV and the 31.5. All right, 31.5 for UNLV. Iowa State's offense is just, it's pitiful right now. Iowa State's got no offense. The defense is great. But you're telling me if UNLV can put 10 points on the board, Iowa State's got to get to 42 to get a cover? I don't see that. I just don't see that happening. So I'm going with UNLV plus the 31. Iowa State is 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 September games. All right? I'll say it again. Iowa State is 0-5 in their last 5 September games against the spread. So for that reason alone, I just think that 31.5 points on the road against a team based on how this offense is playing is not something that I would be doing. Not something I would be doing at all if I'm a bettor. So I'm not touching Iowa State in this one, and I'm going UNLV plus 31.5. Let's go to the next game. Boise State hosting Oklahoma State. Oh, boy. I want to pick the Cowboys. I picked them last week to cover against Tulsa. I got burnt on that one. Think about Oklahoma State right now. Oklahoma State could be 0-2 against Missouri State and Tulsa. How embarrassing would that be? How absolutely embarrassing would that be for Oklahoma State if they were 0-2? It's just crazy to me how bad they've played. They're 2-7 against the spread in their last 9 games. They're going on the road, taking on Boise State. Boise State is 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 September games. They've got 16 starters back. They're at home in this one. I am taking Boise State -3. I'm buying half a point if you need to. It's 3 or 3.5. Buy the half a point and take Boise State -3 against Oklahoma State in this one. Texas Tech is taking on FIU, Florida International. And, Tech almost embarrassed itself last week against Stephen F. Austin. I think it's been a hell of a week in practice for Matt Wells and his guys. He knows he can't put up another stinker. I think that Tech bounces back. You saw a glimpse of what they could do against Houston. And I think that they will take FIU to the woodshed this week, and I'm pretty confident in Texas Tech taking care of business and bouncing back in a way that a lot of people may not expect them to. So it probably isn't a popular pick for a lot of Big 12 fans, but I feel pretty good about Texas Tech in this game and having a bounce-back moment against FIU. What else do we have here? Texas taking on Rice. All right. I know this might be dicey for some of you, but with Casey Thompson at quarterback for the Texas Longhorns, he just became the starter this week after Hudson Card got smoked last week at Arkansas. This is a new starting quarterback who's basically got his career at Texas on the line in this game. I am hammering Texas -26 against Rice, a Rice team, by the way, that just lost to Houston 44-7. Not a great Houston team. We saw this Houston team a couple of weeks ago against Texas Tech. Not a great Houston team at all. And they lost by 37 points. Texas is home, coming off a brutal loss at Arkansas. New starting quarterback. We know what Casey Thompson can do with his legs. He will make it happen. He will have a big game. Texas will bounce back and will cover the 26 points against Rice. And last but not least, Kansas State against Nevada. K-State is an underdog in this game, and it's all because Skylar Thompson is out. Hammer K-State. Hammer K-State. I mean, this is crazy that they're an underdog in this game. By the way, that win against Stanford is looking really good considering Stanford smoked USC last week. I don't love Will Howard. I want to see more to Will Howard, Skylar Thompson's backup. But if they keep it on the ground, if they own the ground game, they will win this game with relative ease. I feel very good about them in this one. They lost to they beat Idaho State last week, but they lost to Cal in week 1, a Cal team that, didn't look great against TCU last week either. They did at times early on, but it was really not a very good team. So I'm feeling good about K-State at home in this one against Nevada, and I will take K-State +1 in this one. Let's look at some of the comments here. Instagram Live, Facebook Live. Gary likes the shirt. Thank you, Gary. I got this. This would have been 2013 after that War tornado. I think I donated somewhere and got the shirt. That's my guy, Gary, former Woodward buddy at the gym there. What's up, Gary? OU has played nobody in their first 2 games. That's from Dennis. I know OU's played no one, but I still think that OU is a top 3 talented team in the nation. And this is the game I believe that, Lincoln Riley, I'm never really concerned about Lincoln Riley's guys turning it on or off. There was that weird second half against Tulane in week 1, but that's pretty unheard of. Really, that's pretty unheard of for the standards of Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley. So I'm not sitting here all that worried about it. I'm really not. I think OU's going to steamroll them. So I've got OU -22 against Nebraska, Virginia Tech +3 against West Virginia, Baylor -18 against KU, UNLV +31.5 against Iowa State, Boise State -3 against Oklahoma State, Texas Tech -20 against FIU, Texas -26 against Rice, and then K-State +1 against Nevada. So there you go. James asking about the hate on the Bears. I'm not hating on the Bears. I'm not. They had a great game last week against Texas Southern. That means nothing to me. I mean, FCS games generally mean nothing to me. And Texas State is a decent program, but, this is kind of the test. But I'm still picking Baylor to cover the spread here. So how much can I really be hating on them? All right, so we're on Instagram Live. We're on Facebook Live. We're going to put this up on YouTube. Find us, of course, on all of those platforms and Twitter as well. Our picks are 5 and 6 against the number this year. So hoping for a big week. We'll talk to you guys soon. Enjoy the games on Saturday.